الله من قرأ سورة الفاتحة. الحمد لله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا وعظيمنا وحبيب قلوبنا وشفيع نفوسنا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وأصحابه الغر الميامين. الحمد لله الذي جعلنا من المتمسكين بولاية سيدي ومولاي علي بن أبي طالب. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. أما بعد، يقول الله في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل لا أسألكم عليه أجرا إلا المودة في القربى. The first of our salawat in honor of Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. The second in honor of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib. The third with your loudest voices in honor of the Imam of our time, Imam Sahib al-Asr wa zaman. Allahumma salli. Respected scholars, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. To be able to examine the reality and the historical personage of Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib, salawatullah wa salamuhu alayhi, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa alayhi, is a somewhat impossible task. Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib has mesmerized the minds of many of the greatest thinkers in history. Muslims and non-Muslims alike have sought to understand the reality as well as the historical personality of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Indeed, you find some of the greatest mystics, some of the greatest philosophers, some of the greatest jurists, some of the greatest scholars of ethics have all tried to understand the values of Ali, the stands of Ali, the principles of Ali. Many have sought to understand the philosophy behind his words, or indeed tried to understand the attributes that surround his character. It's no surprise that when you look in history, you find that the merits this man was afforded highlight his importance, not just in the religion of Islam, but his importance in the evolution of humanity as a whole. Some came and called him God, and that was understandable. Others came and called him the master of the believers. Others took him as the very pole of spirituality, that no man or woman can ever claim to be spiritual unless they have tasted Ali ibn Abi Talib's words or sayings. Others called him the fourth caliph, and therefore you find that many have tried to come in order that they are able to analyze what exactly Ali ibn Abi Talib offers mankind. If you were to ask a great non-Muslim, he would say to you, to me, Ali ibn Abi Talib is the voice of human justice. If you were to ask the greatest Muslim, he would say, I fear to praise you too much, because I fear there will be a time where people will take you as God, and they will take the very dust that is underneath the feet where you walk, and the ground where you step. Therefore you find that to study Ali ibn Abi Talib's reality, as well as to study his historical personality, are of the utmost importance for us as Muslims. And indeed, that will be the series of my topic in the next 24 nights of the holy month of Ramadan, to try and understand the historical personality of Ali ibn Abi Talib. What is the essence of Ali ibn Abi Talib before this world was created? What's the essence of Ali ibn Abi Talib when he came into this world? What are the proofs that he was born in the Kaaba? And was the Kaaba honored by his birth, or did he honor the Kaaba? In reality, why was he the first Muslim? How did he grow up under the Holy Prophet? Why did the Holy Prophet take charge of him? Was he the first Muslim, and how important was this? What's the reality of him at the event of Da'wat al-Ashira? What did it try and present to us as Muslims, but also as human beings? How did he serve the religion of Islam as a young man? How pivotal was he on the night of Hijrah? How did he ensure that the Fatimas reached Medina? And how does he have a closer relationship with the Masjid of Quba and indeed with all the other mosques of the religion of Islam? What was the backdrop to his marriage to Fatima al-Zahra? What was his role at Badr, at Uhud, at Khandaq, at Khaybar, at Hunayn, at Tabuk, at Dhat al-Salasil? Why was he called the Nafs of Muhammad at Mubahala? Why was he given a title on the day of Tawbah that only he could be the one who presents the Quran? And how powerful was the ring he gave away in Ruku' on that day? Also, what were the merits of him on the day of Ghadir? How was Ghadir renounced from him? How did he react to Saqifa in 25 years of silence or 25 years of magnanimity? What was his role on the day of Jamal, the day of Siffin, the day of Nahrawan? Why was he killed? Who killed him? And for how many years was his grave kept a secret from the human being, because the human being wanted to annihilate both his body and his soul? Over the next 24 nights, both here and inshallah in Allentown, Pennsylvania, I want to look at a sketch of the historical personality of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Ali ibn Abi Talib can never be confined to 24 nights. In reality, if mankind all came together and they bought all of their ink, and the inks were trees and the trees became mountains, they would never elucidate the merits of Ali ibn Abi Talib. That there is no doubt. But there needs to be a course where a person reflects upon themselves and really asks themselves, how much do I understand the reality and the historical personage of Ali? The reality of Ali is understanding his essence. The historical personage is understanding his 63 years on earth. Never confine Ali ibn Abi Talib to earth. For Ali ibn Abi Talib transcends earth. We are the mortals of earth. Ali ibn Abi Talib is part of the heavens. But in 24 nights, I'd like to look at Ali from 0 until 63, in order that we're able to understand each and every step of Ali ibn Abi Talib in this period. And I'd like to begin first by this premise. For us to be able to come in 2014 and praise Ali ibn Abi Talib on a pulpit is a miracle in itself. Without a doubt, the most vilified man and the victim of the most severe smear campaign in the history of Islam is Ali ibn Abi Talib, and that there is no doubt. There is no figure in the history of this religion who has been the victim of propaganda, the victim of hatred, the victim of ridicule, the victim of envy like Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib. For me to be here today in 2014 and for the world to hear lectures praising Ali ibn Abi Talib is a far cry from the origin of what was intended by the Muslim world for Ali ibn Abi Talib. Because I tell you, there is no man vilified in this religion like Amir al-Mu'mineen. A few hundred years ago, this lecture could never have been given. A few hundred years ago, Ali ibn Abi Talib was seen as a victim of hatred, was seen with a propaganda campaign that he was the cause of all disunity and the cause of all trouble in the religion of Islam. I would go as far as saying, not even the Prophet Muhammad has been at the victim of a smear campaign like Ali ibn Abi Talib. The Prophet has always been loved within his religion. Yes, there have been empires which have tried to attribute to him faults in order that their caliphs rise while he falls. But there is no doubt that the Prophet Muhammad genuinely and generally by many Muslims has always been at the receiving end of accolades. But Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib is the opposite. For the first few hundred years of this religion, it was very difficult for someone to attribute praise to Ali ibn Abi Talib. Rather, a person who had hatred for Ali was always the one who was given the most praise. And that's why someone would be surprised, as in someone would turn around and say, hold on, surely if anyone's going to attack Ali ibn Abi Talib, it would be people outside of the religion of Islam, as in people maybe outside of the religion would have hatred for him because of what he had done. You find, for example, yes, someone like Dante, the renowned author, is someone who within his divine comedy, when he travels through the inferno, many of you will know Dante went on that journey which he claims towards the inferno, towards hell. He says, in the inferno I saw at the bottom of hell two personalities, Muhammad, son of Abdullah, and Ali, son of Abu Talib. I can understand Dante is outside of the religion of Islam. When he writes a piece of work, he may have hatred towards Rasulullah and towards Amir al-Mu'mineen. But what flabbergasts the mind of the human being is that when you look at the early works of Muslim literature, if a person has hatred for Ali, he is seen as being reliable. And if a person has love for Ali, he is seen as being untrustworthy. When we come in 2014 and are able to say Ali ibn Abi Talib is a great human being, believe me, there has been a lot of blood that's been lost to make sure that this message reached you today. There have been personalities whose tongues were cut, whose hands were cut, whose arms were cut, just to ensure that you are able to understand who Ali ibn Abi Talib is. And that's why these 24 nights I dedicate to those personalities. I will name those personalities shortly. But if it wasn't for those personalities, there would be no understanding of Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib. Therefore, in these first couple of introductory lectures, I'd like to first understand, why was Ali the victim of a smear campaign, and in which way did they seek to eradicate his character from Islamic history? And I'd like to examine this in the following stages. Number one, why is there hatred against any human being generally in society? And what are the three main reasons behind the hatred of one human being to another? Number two, how did they seek to eradicate the name of Imam Ali? A, literally, B, metaphorically. Number three, how did the adhan and the Friday prayer become the center of destroying the character of Ali ibn Abi Talib? Number four, how did books of literature look for haters of Ali to make sure their hadiths filled their books? And how did these haters of Ali remove the merits from him and give his merits to those who were in opposition to him? Number five, which Imams of Ahlul Sunnah stood up against the smear campaign against Ali ibn Abi Talib and were tortured or beaten because of their love for Amir al-Mu'mineen? Number six, which companions of Amir al-Mu'mineen lost their lives in order that they made sure that his flag remained the highest forever? And number seven, what was the most vicious act towards the children of Ali that's highlighted in the first years of Islam? There was no love for Ali ibn Abi Talib. Let me examine this as an introduction to the biography and the lessons from the life of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Why does the human being hate? If you look at around us within society today, you find that there are hate campaigns everywhere in the world. In the worlds of families, there are hate campaigns. In the world of communities, there are hate campaigns. In the world of politics, there are hate campaigns. Each and every one of us at one stage or another in our life has been a victim of a campaign of hate. The question psychologically is, why is a human being hated by another human being? As in, how many of you in life have wondered to yourself, why does this person hate me? As in, what is it that I've done wrong to them that's made them hate me so much? Psychologists have come out with three conclusions as to why it is that a human being shows hatred towards another. The first reason a human shows hatred to another is envy, no doubt. As in, sometimes when you see another human being who's receiving praise constantly, receiving accolades regularly, people are always talking about the greatness of that personality, whether they be a male or a female. The human being sometimes looks at that and wonders to themselves, why is it that that person always receives the praise of the people? You find that the Holy Prophet would say, envy can be positive or it can be negative. The positive envy is called ghibta. The negative envy is called hasad. Positive envy is when I see a human being receiving accolades and I say, MashaAllah, look at what they have received. May Allah increase it for them and also give me of what they receive. Correct or no? That person looks at the issue positively. Negative envy is what? Why is it this person's praised all the time? As in, why is it that everywhere I go, that person in every book is receiving the praise? Why is it this person has wealth? Why is it this person has good looks? Why is it this person has children? Ya Allah, remove them of what they have. The human being, from the very origin, envy has been the disease that made them cause hatred. If you look at Habil and Qabil, what was it that made Qabil kill Habil? What was it other than envy? The origin of the human being, when it comes to hatred, the first reason is envy. And many of us can be a victim to it. As in, there's no one in this hall who could turn around and say that I have not envied someone else. But the aim should be that I envy them positively, not negatively. I should envy them that when I see them wealthy, when I see them with children, when I see them happily married, I should turn around and say, MashaAllah, may Allah give them more. Not I turn around and say, Ya Allah, remove them from these virtues. And that's why the Imam himself mentions by saying, envy devours faith like fire devours wood. Correct or no? Many can come to the mosque and say, I'm a man of Iman, I pray, I fast. That whole Iman is devoured if you are a person of hasad. And that's why in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says very clearly that you should always say, وَمِن شَرِّ حَاسِدٍ إِذَا حَسَدٍ. Ya Allah, protect me from the envy of the envious. Therefore, the first reason anyone is hated is because of envy. The second reason anyone is hated is because of what? Is because they say the truth in your face and don't stab you in the back. Correct or no? When you look at someone, the second reason they're hated is because they're not scared to say the truth, even if it means they lose their friends. Imam, Amir al-Mu'minin used to have a wonderful line. Do you know what he used to say? The truth has left me no friends. Correct or no? How many of us, when we don't say the truth, everyone loves us? Correct or no? Because they look at us and they say, this is not a man of principle. This person never says the truth. Always they're on the fence. You've heard the people in the community who are always on the fence? They say that food is good with Muawiyah and Salah is good with Ali. Correct or no? Those people are always on the fence. Never do they speak the truth. The second type of people who are hated is because they speak the truth. They don't care about the censoring of the censorers. When they see oppression, they don't remain silent. They stand up and they say, I don't care if you ridicule my family, you ridicule me, you take everything away from me. Haqq is haqq. Where I see the truth, I speak out. That person always has enemies and friends. When a person has enemies and friends, you know he's been a good human being. When a person only has friends, you know that that person has no principles at all. I guarantee you. If you see in your community someone, everyone praises him, no, that person's never had principles. All he does is sit with everyone, laugh with everyone, and doesn't say anything. If you see someone in your community who some people rebuke and others love, then know that person's a person of principles. They're not scared to tell you, as Oscar Wilde used to say, a good friend stabs you in the front, not in the back. In your face, they'll tell you, because they're not scared. But that person has hatred. Why? Because the powers that be don't like that person's frankness. They hate that person talking the truth. But the reality is, that's the second cause of hatred. The third cause of hatred is what? Is the ignorance of the society results in hatred. If a society has books of literature, doesn't question, doesn't reflect, doesn't contemplate, then that society is sheep, nothing more. All they do is take the book and carry it like the Quran says the donkey carries luggage. They don't question, is this true? Is it true that Ali ibn Abi Talib is this or Ali ibn Abi Talib is that? No, whatever my father says, I follow. Whatever his father said, we follow. That builds ignorance, doesn't it? Because that person is not a human being anymore. Their thought process is stagnated. Instead of them sitting, instead of them reflecting, instead of them asking, you find them being human beings who just simply sit there and say, if my fathers believe this, then I believe this as well. Therefore, did these three apply to Ali ibn Abi Talib? No doubt. No doubt. Ali ibn Abi Talib's hatred and the smear campaign was because he had these three against him. In which way? The first one, the smear campaign began against Ali ibn Abi Talib was because of the envy towards the accolades that he had. What do I mean? There are certain hadiths in hadith literature which I call the hadiths of the three. Someone says, what do you mean the hadiths of the three? There are certain traditions that begin by saying, Ali ibn Abi Talib had three. I wish I had them, and if I had them, I would have given the whole world away for them. There are many hadiths that come from famous companions of Rasulullah who say this blatantly, that Ali ibn Abi Talib had three, we all wish we had those three, but he's the one who received them. That, in some cases, someone may say, is said out of praise. But there's a hint of envy within that type of hadith. That I wish I had three things that Ali ibn Abi Talib had. Let me give you an example. Umar ibn al-Khattab one day said, I would give everything away if I had three things which Ali ibn Abi Talib was given. They said to him, what is it? He said, the first thing Ali ibn Abi Talib was given was that he was given Fatima al-Zahra as his wife. Salawatullah wa salamu alayha. do you know how much envy it creates when you all propose for Fatima and you're all rejected? It stays. Because all of you go and propose, and yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants this man to marry Fatima. Umar ibn al-Khattab says the first thing Ali had, which we all wanted, was Fatima. He proposed to her. Not only did Allah give him Fatima, but he had kids from Fatima as well. He says, I would give everything away if I had that, number one. Number two, everything that was halal for Rasulullah was made halal for Ali ibn Abi Talib as well. And everything made haram for Rasulullah was made haram for Ali ibn Abi Talib as well. Meaning what? Meaning, for example, if all the doors of the houses were closed to the courtyard of the mosque of Rasulullah, except the door of Ali ibn Abi Talib. He could enter the courtyard of Rasulullah as he pleases. For the rest of us, we were banned from entering in a state of janaba. Ali ibn Abi Talib could enter anytime he wants. He says that's number two. He says number three, the day of Khaybar. All of us that night were waiting. Who is the man who's going to be given the flag tomorrow? Who Rasulullah says, tomorrow I'll give a banner to a man. Me and Allah love him, and Allah and me. Me and Allah love him, and he loves me and Allah. When he goes on the battlefield, he only returns with victory. He said, I wish I would have given everything away if I had those three merits. You think something like that is said soft-heartedly? Not at all. Something like that is said quite blatantly. The same Umar ibn al-Khattab himself said very clearly, when he was asked, why is Ali ibn Abi Talib not the Khalifa? He said, Bani Hashim had nubuwah. You think we're going to give them Khilafah as well? Envy. Like deep down, how is it? This family was given prophethood. Now you're telling me the family has Khilafah as well? Therefore you found, this is one hadith. Another hadith, Muawiyah asks Sa'ad bin Abi Waqqas, the father of Umar bin Sa'ad, Karbala. He says to him, why don't you curse Ali ibn Abi Talib? This hadith, by the way, is in the Sahih books. He says to him, why don't you curse? Subhanallah, look how blatant this is. Why don't you curse Ali ibn Abi Talib? What's wrong with you? He says, I will never curse Ali ibn Abi Talib. He says to him, why? He said, because of three merits given to Ali ibn Abi Talib, which I would have given everything away for if they were given to me. What are they? He said the first is on the battle of Tabuk, when Ali ibn Abi Talib was not at the battle, and he heard rumors that people were saying that Rasulullah was not happy with him, and that's why he didn't take him to war. So he came to Rasulullah and he said to him, Ya Rasulullah, is it true that you are not pleased with me, and that's why I've not come to this war? Rasulullah looked at him and he said to him, Oh Ali, are you not happy that your position to me is the same as the position of Harun to Musa? And I want you to remember this hadith, because later in my analysis, this hadith becomes fundamental when you look at the way they changed the hadith to show hatred towards him. He says, we were all standing there and we saw in the battle of Tabuk very clearly, Rasulullah say, Ali is to me like Harun is to Musa. All of us wanted that accolade, yet he only gave it to Ali ibn Abi Talib. He said number two, the second accolade Ali got was on the day of Mubahala. The Quran said, tomorrow there will be a man who is called the nafs of Muhammad. His soul and Muhammad's soul are one. All of us were wondering, who is that man? When it came down to it, and the Quran said, فَمَنْ حَاجَكَ فِي مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا جَاءَكَ مِنَ الْعِلْمِ فَقُلْ تَعَالَوْا نَدْعُ أَبْنَاءَنَا وَأَبْنَاءَكُمْ وَنِسَاءَنَا وَنِسَاءَكُمْ وَأَنفُسَنَا وَأَنفُسَكُمْ. Who is this nafs of Muhammad who Allah mentions in the Quran? He said, when it came, Rasulullah said, and my nafs is Ali ibn Abi Talib. All of us wished we had that. Then he said number three, again, subhanallah, look at number three again. He says, and Khaybar. And what of Khaybar? All of us were waiting. Who's going to be given the banner? This shows you how vital Khaybar was according to all the Sahaba. Because that night they were all asleep wondering, tomorrow whoever gets the banner of Khaybar is a man Allah looks at as his most important after Muhammad. Therefore you found these hadiths were the cause of envy, that this Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas turns around and says, three things Ali ibn Abi Talib was given, I would have given everything away just for me to have them. Ali ibn Abi Talib, when this envy is shown towards him, what does it mean? It means children will be brought up with this envy. That's why is it this man gets all these accolades and no one else does. Therefore the first reason was envy. The second was what? Because Ali ibn Abi Talib would say the truth in your face and not be scared. After he became Khalifa, Talha and Zubair came to him. They said, we want to be governors for you, because there had been others who had become governors of Basra and Kufa. Talha and Zubair wanted governorship. They came to see him. When they came to see him, he said, you've come to see me about your personal issue? Said yes. This is what he did. He blew out a candle. He put the candle somewhere else. He then bought another candle and he lit it. They said, why did you do that? You could be diplomatic at this moment, can't you? You could say, for example, I don't want to use that candle. No, I'll say the truth, even if the truth hurts. He put the other candle. They said, why did you blow out the other candle? He said, you've come to see me over your personal affairs? They said, yes. He said, the first candle was from the money of the Muslims. I blew it out. You've come to see me over your personal affairs. I have to use a candle I bought from my own money. Amazing. But this doesn't help. Because this doesn't help Talha when he hears something like that. Correct or no? I was with you when Islam began. We fought alongside Rasulullah. And now you talk like this to us? He said, whoever I've made governor of Basra and Kufa is who's fit for the position, not who was a Muslim from day one. See, the disease in Islam today is what? Giving people positions they don't deserve. Correct or no? This person's given this position, and that person's given this position. While there are Muslims in the world much more qualified, they give you people from their families, in their positions, who have no qualifications whatsoever. Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib looks at this, says no. Says, does the truth hurt? If the truth hurts, I'm sorry. But I don't fear the la'im at all. You are la'im against me, I don't fear it. I'm going to tell you as it is. You've come to see me over a personal issue, here's the candle. You're asking me about you being governors because you were with Rasulullah. No one was on the front line of war like me with Rasulullah. And no one was closer to Rasulullah than me. If anyone deserves the positions, I'm the one who deserves them. Therefore, the second reason he was hated was what? The truth in your face, correct or no? The third reason, the ignorance of society. Society would take hadiths from anyone and they wouldn't question them. It reached a level where Mutawakkil in his time could have plays done about Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib being a short, fat, bold human being, and he would have eunuchs playing his role. Instead of the Muslim community standing up and saying, hold on, Ali ibn Abi Talib, surely he is not someone who is unwell, unfit. You found the Muslims would bring up their children calling him al-Anza al-Batin, the bold, fat one. You found the ignorance was what? The ignorance would cause hatred. They wouldn't question Amir al-Mu'mineen's position. If there were hadiths attacking Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib, instead of them saying, hold on, Ali ibn Abi Talib was at Badr, Uhud, Khandaq, Khaybar, husband of Fatima, father of Hasan Hussein. No, not at all. If our fathers hate Ali, then we will live on the hatred of Ali as well. And that's why, do you know how they tried to destroy Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib's character? The first way was literally destroy his name. Someone says, how could you literally destroy his name? Have you noticed the most common name of the Imams of Ahl al-Bayt is Ali? Ali Zayn al-Abidin, yes? Ali ibn Musa al-Rida, Ali al-Hadi. Ali and Muhammad are interchangeable in the names. Do you think the Imams of Ahl al-Bayt don't know how to name their children? Because today when I look at Muslim communities, I see some names which are popping out. I'm like, Habibi, where did you get that name from? Oh, it sounds cool. What do you mean cool? He says, sounds cool. I can fit into the Western world. And when the Englishman looks at me, he will say, MashaAllah, you are modern. Ali ibn Abi Talib and the Ahl al-Bayt didn't know how to name cool names. There aren't many names in the Quran we can name. There are many names. Why do the Ahl al-Bayt keep sticking to Ali and Muhammad? Ali and Muhammad. There was a message for all of us. Never, ever stop naming your children on the name of Abu Turab. If you have to name your kids Ali or Layth or Karar or Murtada, name them. Because never let his name die in society. When Imam al-Hussein was asked, you have a son called Ali Asghar, and a son called Ali al-Akbar, and a son called Ali Zayn al-Abidin. Is there no other names you could give your son? He replied by saying, if I had 1,000 sons, I'll name them all Ali. What a line. What a line. Because what's he trying to say? He's trying to say, do you know what this campaign is all about? They want to remove my father from the legacy and annals of history. That's why they're telling you, name other names. Of the Imams of Ahl al-Bayt, only one Imam has the name of a prophet except Rasulullah. And that's our 7th Imam, correct or no? Other than him, it's either Ali, Muhammad, Muhammad, Ali, Ali, Muhammad. Why? Because they wanted to make sure in the name remains a legacy of a great human being. That's when you see children walking around. Karar, Layth, Murtada, Abu Turab, Abu al-Hasan, Abu al-Sibtain. You look at them and you say, Subhanallah, Ali ibn Abi Talib never died. If his body is buried under the ground, his soul remains in the heart of every human being that no one will eradicate. Muawiyah comes to Ibn Abbas. He says, I heard you had a child. He said, yes. He said, what did you name him? He said, I named him Ali. He looked at him. He said, what the title? What title did you give him? He said, Abu al-Hasan. He said, you give him the title of the man and you give him the name. There is no other name to name because they wanted to build in Syria. You know, in those days, Sham wasn't just Syria. Today, if you ask someone what's Sham, they say to you, Sham is Syria. In those days, Sham was Syria, Palestine, Lebanon, Jordan. From those countries until today, there are people who can't stand the name of Ali ibn Abi Talib, I guarantee you. Because their children were brought up on the legacy of personalities who didn't want the name of Ali to rise. Yes or no? Muawiyah looks at Ibn Abbas. Hajjaj comes on the day of Eid al-Adha. Eid al-Adha, those of you who've been to Hajj. What do we do on Eid al-Adha? What do we sacrifice? Sheep, correct or no? Hajjaj comes to his governor. He says to him, what do Muslims do today? He said, they sacrifice sheep. He said, that's it? He said, yes. He said, do me a favor. He said, what is it? He said, go around and sacrifice anyone named after Ali ibn Abi Talib. Straight. Anyone named after Ali, go and sacrifice them. Go and behead them. I don't want to hear this man's name around. I want his name literally eradicated. That if a child is found to be named Ali, hang them or behead them. Don't let a world grow where Ali ibn Abi Talib is still remembered. The first way, eradicate his name from the annals of history. The second way, what do? You don't just eradicate his name. No. Literally, you make sure that his name is cursed on the pulpits on the Friday prayer. Do you know what a disgusting history we have? That from the day he died, for over 50 years, no Friday prayer could begin except that it has to curse Ali ibn Abi Talib at the beginning. Today, I come to Salat al-Jum'ah. It's a miracle, isn't it? That I can come to Salat al-Jum'ah and I can hear someone say, Alhamdulillah alladhi ja'alana min al-mutamassikina biwilayat Amir al-Mu'minin. Correct or no? There was a period for over 50 years. If a khatib of Salat al-Jum'ah did not curse Ali ibn Abi Talib, he would have to be removed from his post. You had to curse Ali ibn Abi Talib in order for you to survive. One day Muawiyah comes to Ahnaf ibn Qais. Muawiyah comes to Ahnaf bin Qais. He says to him, Ahnaf, I need a favor from you. He said, what is it? He said, you're giving the khutbah? He said, yes. He said, curse Ali ibn Abi Talib for me. Ahnaf looked at him. He said, Muawiyah, I don't want to curse Ali ibn Abi Talib and I don't want this culture to grow. He said to him, why? He said, firstly, Ali ibn Abi Talib has gone to his grave. The man is now gone. Why do you still have to curse him? Have some respect for yourself. Secondly, if the children are used to cursing the companions, there'll be a day they'll curse the prophets of Allah. Muawiyah looked at him and he said, listen to me. You go up there on that pulpit and you curse Ali. Did you hear me or no? Ahnaf bin Qais looked at Muawiyah. He said a line I'll never forget. He said to him, I will, okay. I'm going to go up there and curse. And you know what I'm going to do as well? When I curse up there, I'm going to at the end ask the whole crowd to recite Ameen after every curse. Do you accept? He said, that sounds very good to me. He said, but you know how I'm going to curse? I'm going to tell the people, oh people, Ali ibn Abi Talib and Muawiyah son of Abu Sufyan fought at the battle of Siffin. May Allah's la'na go on the rebel of the two of them. And may Allah's la'na go on the leader of the rebellious group. I want them to say Ameen at the end. Are you now confident for me to curse? He looked at him and he said, I think it's better you stay away from cursing in the prayer. 50 years, the cursing would continue until Umar bin Abdul Aziz stood up and he decided no more la'na on Ali. Umar bin Abdul Aziz showed you, if you question what your parents have given you, there is no harm. Because their ignorance can be the biggest virus. Umar bin Abdul Aziz says, I was a young man. We were taught the Quran. He said, when my tutor would teach me the Quran, if my tutor said something wrong, I would foul mouth my tutor. If my tutor was late, I would foul mouth him. And he says, when we were kids, the way we used to curse, if you ask any child today, what's the curse words? They'll tell you all these different curse words. In those days, the curse word was what? To curse Ali ibn Abi Talib, yes? you would send la'na on Amir al-Mu'mineen. He said, we would send la'na on Amir al-Mu'mineen. One day, my Quran teacher looked at me. He said, Ammar, haven't I taught you the Quran? He said, yes, you have. He said, haven't we studied the Battle of Badr in the Quran? He said, yes, we have. He said, when we studied the Battle of Badr in the Quran, didn't we study that those who fought on the day of Badr, Allah praises them? He said, yes, you are right. Allah praises all those who fought on the day of Badr. He says, what do you think of those who fought at Badr? He says, they are great. He says, what do you think of a man who of the 70 killed from the kuffar on the day of Badr, 35 were from his sword? He said, that man must be a great man, whoever he is. He said, the very man you send la'na on is the man who killed half the opposition on the day of Badr. Umar bin Abdul Aziz says, I was 6 at the time. He said, when I heard this, I thought to myself, you know what? When I grow up one day and become Khalifa, I'm going to make sure that that la'na on Ali ibn Abi Talib stops. When he became Khalifa, first thing he did, give Fadak back to Imam al-Baqir. Second thing he did was stop the la'na on Amir al-Mu'mineen. Because he could not take the fact that society was growing up with hatred against Ali ibn Abi Talib. And he himself would say, when my father Abdul Aziz would speak about anyone, he would speak so eloquently. The moment he speaks about Ali, his name would stutter, his mouth would stutter. I'd say to him, Dad, why is it when you mention anyone else, you speak eloquent? Yet when you mention the name of Ali ibn Abi Talib, you stutter. He said, my son, if the people knew the real merits of Ali ibn Abi Talib, none of us Bani Umayyah would ever be in power. Subhanallah. He said the people, if they were allowed to have a glimpse of Ali ibn Abi Talib, no one from Bani Umayyah would ever be in power. Therefore the second way was what? Second way was to curse his name on the public, on the pulpits. The third way was what? The third way was a phenomenal way. Get every hater of Ali ibn Abi Talib to write hadiths. And the more haters of Ali write hadith, the more his legacy would be destroyed. You know, I've done a study, and I'd like to share the study with all of you. I've done a study on the basis of the narrators of hadith from Bukhari, from Muslim, from many of the main works of Ahlul Sunnah, yes? When you look at the narrators, what do you normally do when you look at the hadith? You straight away look at the chain of narrators, correct or no? When you look at the chain of narrators, your next task is what? Your next task is to make sure that you go and look at their biographies, correct? The books you'd normally go to, there are two main books. Either Tahdhib al-Tahdhib or Taqrib al-Tahdhib. One of them is the work of Dhahabi and the other is the work of Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, yes? These two scholars, what do? They take the names of every narrator of hadith in early Muslim history, correct or no? When I'm saying early Muslim history, I'm talking the period of the lives of the Imams. People who narrate hadiths, they take their names. Under their names, they write their biographies, correct? So for example, if they take Ammar bin Yasir, they say Ammar bin Yasir, early convert to Islam, lover of Rasulullah. His parents were the first martyrs in Islam, correct or no? They write the biography. I studied the sheikhs of Bukhari, the sheikhs of Muslim, the people Bukhari and Muslim take hadiths from. Many of them, you might find even 30, 40 of them are Shia, let's say, no problem, followers of Ahlul Bayt. But then there are some you find, when you read their biographies, an amazing fact emerges. And I'll name you who they are. Under their names, it's written, under their names, reliable narrator of hadith, reliable narrator of hadith, reliable narrator of hadith. So when you see this, you're like, this is amazing. This person's a reliable narrator, let me take. The next line under it, it says, has a major hatred for Ali ibn Abi Talib. Take hadiths from him. When you read that, you're like thinking, hold on, wait. Our brothers in Ahlul Sunnah today, if you ask them, do you love Ali ibn Abi Talib? Every single one of them would say yes. Do you agree or no? Do you agree? If you ask any of our brothers in Ahlul Sunnah today, do you love Ali ibn Abi Talib? Won't all of them say yes? I want to ask my brothers in Ahlul Sunnah one question. Do you believe it was always like this? They'll say to you, yes. Say, why? They say, because we believe there are 4 rightly guided Khulafa: Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and Ali. I asked them, it doesn't seem like that at the beginning of Islam. This seems to be a later myth. Say, why? I say, because the early reliable narrators of hadith was on whether they hated Ali. The more you hate Ali, the more chance your hadith would be narrated. Let me give you examples of names who are taken hadiths from. Someone like, for example, if you look at the likes of whom? Hariz bin Uthman al-Himsi. Hariz bin Uthman al-Himsi, under his name it is written, very reliable narrator of hadith, has major hatred for Ali ibn Abi Talib. How? How can someone be reliable if they hate Ali? If early Islam loved Ali, how are you taking hadiths from someone who hates Ali? The biggest myth in early Islam was every Muslim loved Ali. It's a myth they created later. In early Islam, the classification of a reliable narrator of hadith is someone who hated Ali ibn Abi Talib. Hariz bin Uthman is the same man who narrates the famous hadith. You know what he says? You know the hadith I quoted earlier. Ali is to me like Harun was to Musa. Hariz bin Uthman, Bukhari takes hadiths from him. Yes? Hariz bin Uthman said, this hadith is not true. He said, what do you mean it's not true? He said, this hadith is not true. So what do you mean? He said, they got the spelling wrong. They got what wrong? The spelling. He said to him, what do you mean they got the spelling wrong? He said, it shouldn't be Ali is to me like Harun is to Musa. It should be Ali is to me like Qarun was to Musa. Who's Fir'aun? Who's Musa's three main enemies in the Quran? Fir'aun, Haman, and who's the third? Qarun. Correct or no? What does the hadith say? Ali is to me like Harun is to Musa. I said, no, you forgot the dots on the top. How do you write Harun in Arabic? What if you put two dots on top? What will it look like? Qarun. He built children and institutions on the fact that this hadith didn't refer to Ali being good. It referred to Ali being a nemesis for the Prophet Muhammad. For hundreds of years in Syria, in Palestine, in Jordan, children were taught that Ali ibn Abi Talib's relationship to Rasulullah is like that of Qarun to Musa. That's who? All of the work of whom? This person, Hariz bin Uthman. Who else do you have? Maswar bin Makrama. You know Maswar bin Makrama is seen as a very reliable narrator of hadith in Ahlul Sunnah. You know Maswar bin Makrama is the man, you know the hadith, Fatima is a part of me. Whoever angers her, angers me. You've all heard the hadith, correct? Bukhari narrates the hadith, Fatima is a part of me. Whoever angers her, angers me. Normally when you hear that hadith in Majalis, you think, subhanallah, those who hurt Fatima al-Zahra, how could they hurt her? How could they be evil towards her? You know where I'm going, correct? You know what the sharh of this hadith is? According to Maswar bin Makrama, he says this hadith is an attack on Ali ibn Abi Talib. So what do you mean it's an attack on Ali ibn Abi Talib? He said Ali ibn Abi Talib went behind Fatima al-Zahra's back to propose to Abu Jahl's daughter Juwayriyah. He went to propose without Fatima al-Zahra knowing. So Fatima al-Zahra found out. When Fatima al-Zahra found out, she went to Rasulullah. She said to him, Ya Rasulullah, how dare that Ali ibn Abi Talib go behind my back? How dare he go to marry and propose for the daughter of Abu Jahl? That Ali ibn Abi Talib has angered me. Rasulullah, as soon as he heard this, he said, everyone gather in the mosque. He stood up on the pulpit and he said, it's not for me to make halal that which is haram, or haram that which is halal. But Ali ibn Abi Talib today has done something which is prohibited for him. Ali ibn Abi Talib has angered Fatima al-Zahra. And know that whoever angers Fatima has angered me. And whoever angers me has angered Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Today Ali ibn Abi Talib has angered Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Fatima is a part of me, was never taught as an attack on others. It was always taught to children for hundreds of years. As the moment Allah became angry with Ali ibn Abi Talib. Tell me, Ali ibn Abi Talib has no better father-in-law to go for than Abu Jahl? Even if you just look at the hadith like that. You want Abu Jahl to be your father-in-law? Number one, Hariz. Number two, who? Maswar bin Makrama. Number three, Samara bin Jundub. Samara bin Jundub. Under his name, it's written, hater of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Very reliable in hadith. Take a lot from him. This Samar ibn Jundub, Muawiyah comes to him. He said, there's an ayah in the Quran praises Ali ibn Abi Talib. He said, which one? He said, Surah 2, verse 207. The verse says, and there are those who sell their souls for Allah. Correct or no? He said that ayah in the Quran, everyone uses it to praise Ali. Someone said, yes, you're right. It's about him on the night of Hijrah. He gave his soul, his body away apparently for Muhammad. He slept in his bed on that night. He said, yes. He said to him, Samara, is there any way we can change the meaning of this ayah? He said, what, you want me to change the Quran? He said, no, not the Quran. The tafsir of this ayah. He said, what do you want me to make the tafsir? He said, change it. Don't say it's revealed about Ali on the night of Hijrah. Say it's a prophecy about Ibn Muljam. He said, what do you mean? He said, say that Allah prophesies there will be a man who one day loses his life for the sake of Allah. That man is Ibn Muljam when he kills Ali in the mosque of Kufa. Samara looks. He says to him, how much will you pay me for this? He said to him, 100,000 dinar. He said, what? 100,000 dinar to make sure children are brought up hating Ali ibn Abi Talib forever? He said 200,000. He said more, 300. There is a narration which says he paid him 800,000 dinar to make the ayah reveal about Ali ibn Abi Talib. Imagine. They went to that extent. They made sure Haris bin Uthman, Maswar bin Makrama. They made sure, for example, Samara bin Jundub, Al-Karabis al-Baghdadi, Imran bin Hattan, Imran bin Hussein. Name after name of people who either their grandfathers were killed at Siffin and hated Ali, or they fought Ali and hated Ali. You would find in the books of hadith of Dhahabi and of Ibn Hajar, under their names, it says very clearly that this person hates Ali. Take as many hadiths as you can from them. Did anyone stand up against these people or no? Yes. From Ahlul Sunnah and from the Tashayyu', there are people, because of them, we are able to praise Ali ibn Abi Talib in this series of lectures. From Ahlul Sunnah, the first of them, Imam al-Shafi'i said, if my love of Ali as the wali of Rasulullah is called Rafd, or calls me a Rafidi, then I am the first of the Rafidis. Imam al-Shafi'i, who today in the Muslim world, more than 25% of the people follow his fiqh, he knew there was a time that to love Ali ibn Abi Talib was seen as a negative point on a Muslim. He said, if my love for the wali is determined as rejection, then I'm the first of the rejectors. More than that, our brothers in Ahlul Sunnah have 6 Sahih books. Do you agree with me or no? Sahih al-Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, Tirmidhi, yes? Abu Dawood, Ibn Majah, and what's the last one? An-Nasa'i, correct or no? Many of you would have read the book Sunan an-Nasa'i. Have any of you ever asked that Nasa'i, one of the authors of the 6 most important books of hadith in Ahlul Sunnah, do you know how Nasa'i died? He died because he wanted to praise Ali ibn Abi Talib publicly. They beat him to death. They came to him, they said to him, in your book, you have much praise of Ali and nothing for Muawiyah. Why? He said, to tell you the truth, if I was to live from now until the day of judgment, I could never write the merits of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Ali ibn Abi Talib's merits are many. They said to him, how about Muawiyah? He said, Muawiyah, the only merit I've ever read about the man is that Rasulullah said, however much Muawiyah eats, his stomach will never be full. He said, I promise if I had any other hadith of praise, I would include it. Why would I be scared? He said, Ali ibn Abi Talib has all these praises. Muawiyah has none. But if you want me to include, I will. Do you know what they did to him? They beat the man to death. They beat him. They hit his testicles. They hit his intestines. They beat him and beat him. Go to any of our brothers in Ahlul Sunnah today. Say, which are the 6 books you respect the most? They'll say to you, Bukhari, Muslim, Tirmidhi, Abu Dawood, Ibn Majah, and Nasa'i. Say, Nasa'i, how did he die? None of them will know. Tell them he died because he tried to protect Ali ibn Abi Talib's legacy on this earth. From Ahlul Sunnah, Imam al-Shafi'i. From Ahlul Sunnah, Imam al-Nasa'i. But from the world of the school of Ahlul Bayt, those who lost their lives for their love of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Wallah, when you look at their names, if it wasn't for them, none of us would ever know Ali ibn Abi Talib today. The first of them, as a beacon of light on this earth, Hujr bin Adi al-Kindi. First, Hujr bin Adi, when Muawiyah is about to kill him, he says to him, as an Arab, you have a last wish. What do you want? He said, kill my son first. There, pointing to him. Kill my son first. said, sorry? He said, kill my son. That man who they destroyed his grave in Sham. Kill my son first. He said, that's your last wish as a father? He said, yes. Very well. They came to his son, took the knife, beheaded his son. He smiled. Alhamdulillah. Said to him, why do you smile? We just beheaded your son. Why would you ask for your son to be killed ahead of you? He said, I had to make sure my son died on the love of Ali ibn Abi Talib. He said, if I died before him, he might have loved that man in Sham. But I saw my son die loving Ali. What else do I want in my life but to face Allah knowing I brought up a child loving Amir al-Mu'mineen? Now when you kill me, I smile because I'm ready to face Allah saying, I brought up a man who praised Abu Turab and who loved Abu Turab and who honored Abu Turab and looked after the legacy of Abu Turab. Hujr bin Adi al-Kindi stood up, lost his life, so Ali ibn Abi Talib's name remains alive. Ammar bin Hamaq al-Khuza'i was beheaded so that Ali ibn Abi Talib's name remains alive. You find Kumail ibn Ziyad. In front of him, Hajjaj looks at Kumail. If you leave the way of Abu Turab, I'll give you whatever you want and release you. Kumail looked at him and he said, show me a way better than Abu Turab, I'll take it. There is no way like the way of Abu Turab. He beheaded him. Maytham al-Tammar stood in front of Ibn Ziyad. Ibn Ziyad crucified him on the tree. Maytham al-Tammar stood in front of him and he was praising Amir al-Mu'mineen day and night, day and night. Fada'il after fada'il after fada'il after fada'il. He came, Ibn Ziyad said, you know what? I will kill you if you continue praising Ali. He looked at him and he said, I don't care if you kill me. My master told me I'll die praising him. You will fulfill the wish of my master and his prophecy. At that moment, Ibn Ziyad said, very well, then I will not kill you. So your master has proved wrong. Maytham in the darkness of the night would call out to the people, oh people, do you know who my master is? Imam al-Muttaqeen, Sayyid al-Wasiyyin, Asad Allah al-Ghalib, Madhar al-Ajaib, Talib fawqa kulli talib. And he would continue and continue and continue. And the people would listen to him praise until Ibn Ziyad came with a spear and stuck it through Maytham's neck and cut his tongue at that moment. Do you think if it wasn't for Maytham and Hujr and Ammar and Kumail and Salman and Abu Dhar and Miqdad and Jabir and Adi bin Hatim al-Ta'i and the likes of these, wallah, we would never have Ali ibn Abi Talib today. That was the level of hatred. And these men all lost their lives because of that. But without a doubt, of all the men who lost their lives to protect Ali ibn Abi Talib, none come near Abu Abdullah stand on the 10th of Muharram. Every man gave his life away towards Amir al-Mu'mineen, but none gave their lives away like the grandson of Rasulullah. Yes? And you know how hard it was when they would curse his father in front of him. Yet he'd remain patient. He'd remain patient because he'd won the religion of Islam to grow. I'll never forget that moment where he comes out alone on the 10th of Muharram. He stands in front of the army of Ammar bin Sa'ad and he looks towards them and he says to them, is not my grandfather Rasulullah, is not my mother Fatima, is not my father Ali, is not my grandmother Khadija, is not my uncle Hamza or Ja'far al-Tayyar? They replied to him with a line, wallah, I'll never forget. They replied to him with a line. They said to him, yes, they are all yours. He says, then why do you want to kill me? They replied to him by saying, we want revenge for what your father did to us. Yes? At that moment the tears began to trickle down from the eyes of Abu Abdullah. Why? Not just for himself, but he thought, if they have that much hatred for me, then what will they do to the daughters of Ali ibn Abi Talib after I die? Ya Abu Abdullah, while you lay on the ground in Karbala, your daughters ran from tent to tent, yes? One of them calling out, where is my brother? The other calling out, where is my uncle? And one of them calling out, where is my father? Yes? That one who called out, where is my father? She ran from tent to tent, yes? From one tent to another. Her dress was burning from the fire.
ayah of Ammar bin Sa'ad. Suddenly Hamid bin Muslim says, I came towards her. I looked towards this young girl. She was from the granddaughters of Ali. And that moment when I looked towards her, I said, here, take some water. She looked at me. She said, oh man, are you with us or are you against us? He said to her, I am neither with you, nor am I against you. She said to him, oh man, how could I drink water while my father lay on the ground with the water? And then in that moment she looked towards him. She said, oh man, may I ask you something? He said, yes. She said, oh man, have you read the Quran? He replied back to her, he said, yes, I have. She said to him, have you read the ayah? فَأَمَّا الْيَتِيمَ فَلَا تَقْهَرْ. As for the orphan, do not hurt the orphan. He said to her, yes, I have. She said, أَنَا يَتِيمَةَ أَبِي عَبْدِ اللَّهِ. I'm the orphan of Abu Abdullah. And then at that moment she said to him, have you read the ayah of the Quran? وَأَمَّا السَّائِلَ فَلَا تَنْهَرْ. When someone asks you a question, do not reject their question. He said to her, yes, I have. And she said to him, oh man, I beg you, direct me towards the land of Najaf. Allahu Akbar. Direct me towards the land of Najaf. He said to her, why? She said, they told me I have a grandfather buried in the land of Najaf by the name of Ali ibn Abi Talib. I want to complain to him about the way they've treated his children on the plains of Karbala, the way they stuck a spear into the chest of Akbar, the way they trampled on Qasim, the way they cut the hands of Abbas, and the way they made an arrow spear the neck of my baby brother. But above all else, I want to complain to him about the way Shimr sat on the chest of my father alone on Karbala. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to raise us with Amir al-Mu'mineen on the day of judgment. I specifically say Amir al-Mu'mineen because Imam al-Sadiq himself, when someone said to him, O Amir al-Mu'mineen, he replied, there is only one Amir al-Mu'mineen, nobody else. Ya Allah, provide us with the shafa' of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Ya Allah, allow us to be by his grave in the land of Najaf this time next year. Allow us to be amongst those who receive his intercession in this world and the hereafter. Ya Allah, allow us to build our relationship in this month, the month of the martyrdom of Amir al-Mu'mineen, by getting closer to Amir al-Mu'mineen. The originators of this majlis, may Allah bless them and allow them to continue to serve the message of the religion of Islam. Ya Allah, our brothers around the Islamic world, in this the holy month of Ramadan, the month of blessings, remove the oppression that they face. Our brothers in Iraq, our brothers in Syria, our brothers in Lebanon, our brothers in Pakistan, our brothers in Afghanistan, our brothers in Bahrain, our brothers in the Hijaz, our brothers all around the Islamic world, Ya Allah, bring peace and prosperity to them in the month of Ramadan and remove all the oppression that they face through the blessings of Muhammad and Al Muhammad. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the Surah Al-Fatiha, but before it the loudest of your salawat. Allahumma salli.